Today at AudioCityUSA, we're going to be diving into explaining Formula One tires. I'm here with Gio, and you're not going to believe how many of these tires they actually make, so stay tuned. Before we get started, we put out videos like this every single week, so if you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe because you don't want to miss content that we're putting out. Now, Gio, today we need to explain to everyone why there are 8 sets of Formula One tires. It's ridiculous, but the long story short is we have 6 sets of hard compound slicks and we have 2 other tires. Now, can we dive in? Let's start with the easier ones first. What are those 2 alternate tires?
The 2 alternate tires, starting off, we have the green one, which is the intermediate tire, and then we have the blue tire, which is the full wet. So if you're driving in rainy conditions, a wet track, the blue tire is what you're going to be seeing the F1 cars. And if the weather's kind of spotty, dry some areas, wet in others, you're going to see the green tire, which is kind of made for both.
And an interesting thing on that note is we very rarely see the blue tire because oftentimes it's so rainy they just cancel the session.
Right.
And so most of the time you're going to see this green tire. And an interesting point in the race series is when everyone's on greens and it's time to go back to those dry tires, it's about the strategy of the teams bringing them out. But either way, these tires are able to move huge volumes of water out of the way using their tread. But as soon as it hits dry condition, they degrade immediately. And that's why Pirelli has developed 6 sets of dry tires, ranging from C0 being the hardest tire, all the way up to C5 being their softest compound tire. Now, you might be asking, why have they done such a huge spread of tires? And that is to make strategy a big part of the way these teams race, because truthfully these tires could already make it to the end of the race. Isn't that right?
So if you guys didn't know, what Pirelli does is they bake their tires in degradation before the races when the tires are being manufactured on purpose, because they want the tires to be able to wear out sooner than later, so that the teams do have to go through strategy, changing out their tires for different compounds, because the technology's already there. They have tires that can last the entire race, but where's the fun if every car is just racing the entire time?
Absolutely. And so they absolutely do build in these inaccuracies so that they'll degrade, because otherwise perfect tires means a boring race. And so that, on top of the fact that there's 6 compounds to choose from, really gives the teams the ability to pick a strategy for what they think is going to help them win on the weekends. Now, you'll see a C5 tire, which is typically white on the softest circuits, things like Monaco, where you need the most amount of mechanical grip from that tire that you can get. And the straights are not very long at all, so you're not going to wear them out. Typically, if you were to run a soft compound tire like this on a track, say China's, for instance, China has a lot of really long straights, which will absolutely annihilate these. So that's why teams will typically choose a C0 or a C1 tire so that they have more longevity overall. Now, they have a whole bunch of different colors. I like to call it the rainbow or the skittle of Pirelli tires. But another interesting thing to note is that Pirelli has been the manufacturer now for, I'd like to say, the better part of a decade. It was in fact a time when it was Bridgestone and Michelin on the same track, and that caused some controversies.
I'm sure that got pretty competitive.
It did, especially because there was one race in particular where they boycotted because one tire manufacturer was way more dominant than the other, and so half the grid didn't even show up for that race.
Wow. And
it was certainly interesting. So tires in Formula One go hand in hand like planes and water landings. I'm joking, it doesn't. But at the same time, tires play an integral role in Formula One, and it's part of it. And that's why they have such strategies like this. Now, personally, if you want to get road tires, I would prefer to run something, say a Michelin, but ultimately it comes down to what's your use case. You know what I mean?
Definitely. There's uses from every tire brand for what you want to do.
Absolutely. And Pirelli really can't show how good their manufacturing skills are because of this tire that needs to have some inaccuracies in it. And another interesting thing to note is tires have evolved over time. Back in the day, there would be a guy with a hammer physically smacking the nut onto the rim. And now you have these automated guns, as well as the fact of the shape changing. I mean, just recently, Gio, what'd they do? They increased the wheel size?
Increase the wheel size, decrease the sidewall.
Which, personally, I think has been a long time coming.
Definitely. There's less flex in the tire, which means these tires are more accurate. The driving is more accurate. and overall, not a smoother ride, but a more precise drive.
Absolutely, especially when they're doing corners at 150 miles an hour. You're going to get less deflection in that sidewall, and it's going to be a lot more agile. It's just much better.
Yep.
And so, which has been your favorite era of Formula One tires? Personally, I was big into when Bridgestone were racing because those were absolutely dominant on Michael Schumacher's Ferrari back in the day. But you let me know in the comments below. If you're new to Formula One, this is a sport I highly recommend you check out. It's a lot of fun. I know Max Verstappen has been winning a lot recently, but if you guys had recently seen the Monaco Grand Prix, then you know that things are about to change up. And so it's exciting. But either way, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do need wheels and tires for your own vehicle, come to AudioCityUSA.com. We are experts. We've been doing this for longer than we've been alive. So give us a call on this number or go to AudioCityUSA.com. Gio, what should we leave them with?
Oh, yeah. If you guys are into F1, let us know when you started watching and who's your favorite driver.
Absolutely. Let us know in the comments below. Anyway, he's Gio. I'm Andy. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.